only a few hours later. So at the moment, I'm just parked in Eltham. So I've just done a couple of hours, basically South Taranaki, where Uber had set up a quest because they launched in Hawera on Tuesday. Now, I don't know what's behind their advertising campaign or how they get into a new township. I don't know. But I do know that I drove an hour to Hawera, sat there for a couple of hours, and now I'm going to drive home from Hawera and didn't even do one ride. So, hey, it was a gamble. The quest that they've got is an extra $10 for every ride that you do, on top of the fare up to 20 rides. I went into it not expecting to do anywhere near 20 rides today, and I was pretty bang on. I did none. But anyway, the reason why I stopped at Eltham was I've got what they call the cheese bar, so the trip wasn't wasted. I got a bag of goodies. So you can obviously get these cheeses, and like that. Why not have another one? No, they're cheaper than a supermarket. But you get the offcuts cheaper. That's aged cheddar. And that one's Parmesan. Parmesan. However you say it. So my trip wasn't wasted. But I spent $40 on cheese and made no money. But anywho, that's the way the cookie crumbles, or that's the way the crumble cookies. I don't know. But we're heading back, tail between our legs. What's our time? 3:15 now. I'll probably be home about 4. Have a quick break, have something to eat, and then I'll just Uber back in New Plymouth, where I always Uber, my familiar ground. But yeah, so do people even out here do they know that Uber's available? I don't know. Did Uber, run ads in papers or on radio stations, or I don't know. So here we are, tail between our legs, getting home. I was excited, semi-excited, happy, pleased to break in the new ground, I guess, but I don't know. So this quest ends in a week, so Friday week. Am I going to come back down? I don't think so. There was one other Uber driver down there. The whole time I was there, I was sitting in one spot. I had the rider app open, and so I was sitting there 2 hours, and the other guy was sitting in one spot for the same amount of time. Probably parked at his house, to be fair. I don't know, but yeah. And I worked out that I've also got a campaign for the riders, because while you're in the riders app, you just request a ride home, right? And that shows you all the cars are. $168 normally, because they're running a campaign. It was like $120 off, so $148 from back that way we would come from, to my house. So that's actually not bad in the scheme of things. Now that's an hour's drive. That's 67 or 68 kilometres. And it takes about an hour because of all the little towns that you've got to go through. And apparently you can't do 100 kilometres an hour through town. So yeah. So I don't know what to do about South Taranaki, really. Leave it to the people that live down there, which I don't think, well, there's that one guy I know that lives down there. So that could have been him parked up all day. Who knows? Who knows? How do you guys think that they break into new territory? What's the advertising campaign around it? Do they just offer riders drivers more money and offer big discounts to the riders in the hope that it takes off? Or I never heard anything about the launching here. Look, there, back behind us. Yeah. Oh well. Nice day though. See, I wish you could see our mountain. See if I can get you to see the mountain. Beautiful drive this way. I'll take you out of the cradle. And what's the bear? I'll hold you up to have a look at the mountain. And Mr. Policeman will come around the corner. Let's just see if I can change the camera. Oh, look at that. Look, I'm going slow. Not 100% sure if you can see that clearly because of the lighting, but that's our Mount Taranaki. Got a little bit of snow on the top at the moment. Oh. Look at those trees there. Hang on. Welcome to my smelling. Oh, look at that. Aqua party and an aqua. Once we get up here, you might get a better view of our mountain. So at least I get a good day to drive there and back and do nothing. But yeah, in the distance there, you get the idea. You get the idea. It's got a little bit of snow on the top because we're coming into winter. Yes, Taranaki. Where's my favourite place for mince and cheese? Oh wow, that's only one place, and that's the Z petrol station. Sorry, can't go past their pies. My favourite go-to pie actually used to be muffin pie, but that's over on the east coast. When I used to live that way many years ago, but they've changed the recipe, they've destroyed it. So yeah. But I don't really have much more to say on that because I got no rights at all. And actually, the town looks really dismal. And I mean that with the greatest of respect too. Like, I mean, there's shops all like closed down. Not many people in town. The warehouse is there. ASB Bank's closed. Like, I mean, the town's almost non-existent. And then, you've got little Eltham where I just stopped to get the cheese. And that had more people walking around in Eltham than what it did in Hawera. And it's like Eltham's just a dot. Yeah. We're about to come into Stratford now. And better slow down because usually a cop sits up here. Not that I know, just being told. Well, this is all part of the new launch into South Taranaki for Uber, Stratford as well. But yeah. Anderson Pies, yeah. Yeah, Coronation, actually, yeah. They've got some good pies. I would say if I was going to go for a bakery pie, since now we are on a pie topic, I'm a bit sad that you will be driving past my place soon. If you're going through, yeah, I'll be going through Inglewood, sorry. So you don't like the Z pie? I like them. They got, like, to me, they got the perfect pie crust, perfect pastry. Their bacon and egg pie seems to hit the spot, but the chutney that they put in it, and the chutney's only ever in one spot, and it's always the last mouthful for me. But yeah, Anderson pies, I do like them, but I wouldn't say they're my favourite. But if I had to go bakery pie, um, can't really go past the Maryland's one up there on can't even think of the road now. I'll think of it. But yeah, up there by Maryland's Toronto. That would have to be my best bakery pies, I would say. And I do make a mean pie myself. Just saying, not being biased or anything, but yeah. And I don't eat a lot of pies now. I used to eat a pie a day, at least once a day, and kind of went on a weight loss, kind of let's lose some weight and get fit kind of thing. And pies are at the bottom of the list. And so, just driving through Stratford, there's more people. There's more people in Stratford, in town. The car parks back there were quite full, and we're heading kind of north from Stratford, the northern end of Stratford, and there's still heaps of cars in the car park. So, what's happened to Harbour? I remember going through there, and it used to be busy as. That's why I thought, oh yeah, Uber's launching down there. Let's get down there. There'll be people wanting to get to town and get home. And Thursday, big chance that people have got some coin in their pocket to be able to get an Uber to town and do a bit of grocery shopping. And, okay, Maryland's is the best in town. But yeah, the Anderson's, the one that I really like is the Anderson's pie. Like if we were to grade pies from, if we're from the best Anderson pie to the worst Anderson pie, I'd have to say steak and mushroom Anderson, good. Their cheese kind of, like their steak and cheese or mince and cheese pies, their cheese kind of puts me off a little bit. But I don't like their bacon and egg pies. No way. I'll eat them. Like, if that's the only one in the pie warmer that's been at the corner dairy for 3 days, I'll eat it. When you say they're small, they're a lot smaller ones. They've been in the pie warmer for a long time. It's almost picking up a beef disc, beef jerky and a bit of biscuit. Had one that bad once. But they're nicer if you buy them straight from their bakery, right? Homemade bacon and egg pie, for sure. For sure. And we get some really good free range eggs at home. Not, I don't have chickens, because people in town don't like chicken. So we buy some really good, tasty, free-range eggs, and oh, good bacon. You mix the egg with the bacon, and then you crack some whole eggs in it. Oh, you're actually making me hungry. Lucky I'm going home for a feed. Oh, you obviously got your own chickens. Yeah, I'm trying to talk the wife into getting chickens because she's like, oh, you can't have chickens in town. Like, well, why not? As long as you don't have a rooster. We've had a rooster before, and that's before we lived in New Plymouth. And I'll tell you what, that thing used to get up before the sun every day without fail. It'd be 10, 20 minutes before the sun even started poking its head out. And this rooster would go, and he was vicious. You go get the eggs and they're going to attack you, which is good. And then you've got a rooster that protects the hens really well. You don't have problems with stoats or rats or anything when you've got a rooster like them around. 5 sheep as well. And a beefy. Bro, you're practically living off grid. That's mean. Hopefully the sheep, the 5 sheep, and the beefy end up in the freezer. But I reckon if you don't have animals unless you can eat them. Like we got kids at home, and I thought, chickens, they make good pets. They give you a good food source, and when they stop laying, well, Sunday roast. Oh. But I must say we have got some good weather at the moment here in Tana. Oh, look, you might get a better view of the mountain now. Even though you, the guy with the 5 chickens and the 5 sheep and the beefy, you can see the mountain from your house more than likely. There she is. There he is. There she is. Every time I pull my phone out, there's building. It's going to turn me into a liar. Either that or else the cop's going to see me and pull me over. And say, what are you doing on your phone? Yeah, it is. That's all you get. Sorry. Very hard to read and drive, but that's alright. Oh, you must be eating like a king. 1 sheep or 1 beef. And you'll know too. You compare your home beefies and your home sheep to the crap that we buy in the supermarket. It ain't the same. Definitely not the same. When you get a nice, a well looked after beefy that's had a relaxing life all its life, good fat on it, nice, tender, juicy, tasty. Oh, how was my day? So I spent 2 hours waiting in Hawera, and I'm going home with my tail between my legs. Not one ride. Not one. Not even half one. Not even a cancelled ride. Not even the hopes of a ride. Oh, don't get started on the prices. Don't get started on the prices. Gee. Yeah, another day tomorrow, but I don't think I'm coming all the way to Harwood. I think I'm going to leave that up to other people. I'll be Ubering in New Plymouth. Yeah, well, do you so when you get your beef killed, do you get the home kill guy, or if you do it yourself, do you keep all that tallow, all that suet from around the kidneys and that internal white fat and render it down? Because I tell you what, I cook in tallow in my food trailer, tallow only. We try to get rid of all seed oils out of my trailer. So everything's cooked in tallow. The chips that we buy are blanched in tallow from Oamaru, and then that way we get no seed oil inclusion. But if I could, find a reliable source, and I mean need kilos and kilos and kilos of it, I would buy that suet and render it down myself to cook in, because that's just flavour. That is, and it's healthy for you too. Like, health department will tell you that it's not, but what do they know? They only try to kill people. No money in us being healthy. So it's got the good fats in it, and I can argue that point. People be like, no, vegetable oil is the way to go, and I can be like, well, in a chip fryer, and I've done it in the past, cooked with oil, and after so long you get a brown ring around the basket, and that, you clean it regularly, and that brown ring gets worse and worse. It's almost like a plasticky rubber that you cannot get off. Like, you can pick at it and it stretches. That's using seed oil. I've gone to tallow in the last 13 months maybe. My deep fryer still looks brand new every time I clean it. Nothing sticks to it. Yeah, I'm with you. I can't say that word out loud. But yeah, seed oil can right off. You had the best pie today. Nacho pie from Zed. Hey, you see? Zed pies, brother. Zed pies. I don't venture much past their mince and cheese or their bacon and eggs. It'd be interesting to try their is it their pulled beef one they've got at the moment, the jalapeno. I'm just afraid that the jalapenos be a little bit too hot. I don't mind hot food, but hey, sometimes jalapenos can really punch you in the gut. Oh, what have you said? I got to review a message. Oh, I don't know what's happening. I shouldn't be reading. Actually, can I get done for reading this while I'm driving if they find it later on? Because nah, surely not. Pulled pork one, yeah, that'd be good. But they'd come up with some pretty good pies. I'm not gonna lie. And they're actually a good size, but same price as a bakery. Yeah, I'm focusing on the road more. If we put it in percentage wise, I'm probably 60% on the road, 40% on reading you guys' comments. That's a pass, isn't it? I'm driving behind a truck that's towing something, so I must be getting close to Inglewood, actually going into doing these lives, like my first live only hours before, I thought, how daunting is it to be talking, not being able to edit what you say, not being able to cut out what you say, and then thinking nobody's ever going to watch it live, so why do a live and end up probably saying the wrong thing and hurting someone's feelings. And then I can't see names properly. I got to focus on the road. But I'm sure there's one or two of you that were here earlier on my live, and now I've got some on this live, and just, obviously somebody watches my lives, second one in, but yeah, just, I don't know, does it make it worth it? Yes. Does it make me sound like an idiot? Probably, because I'm still talking almost to myself, but I'm not, I'm getting responses. Yeah, so, hey, and I appreciate you guys coming on and watching. It's probably not as entertaining, or I don't see myself as an entertainer anyway. It's a little bit sad that I can't go live while I'm doing Uber. Just because my pockets aren't deep enough to pay people off if they decide to take me to court because you heard a conversation that they had that they shouldn't have had, which is kind of, that's their fault for having it, but, New Zealand law, privacy law, I guess. Well, I'm glad that I helped, even if you're the only person that my videos have helped, obviously it made it worth it, and hopefully it helps other people. But I got into this game because I don't even know if I've done a video on it, but I had spinal fusion 5 years ago, so I can't continue in being a heavy diesel mechanic. And it's like, well, what do I do? Do I go find a job that I can do, or do I? And that's what got me into this gig work and the flexibility around it. So I got 6 children and my wife at home. Yep, 6 children. It can be a handful. And so that's what got me into it, was the flexibility around it. I done Delivery Easy while I was still being a mechanic. So Delivery Easy basically didn't teach me, but got me into it, got me used to it. And then, so I started up the signing up process of Uber and DoorDash while I was still working, and then obviously finished work and went full time into this gig work. And so the flexibility around it, the not having to go out and find a job, it would suit my, well, it's no longer an injury, spinal fusion. It just can't do what I know to do, like diesel mechanic for 19 odd years. And that was hard to leave, actually. That was really, really hard to say, no, the body's done. I got to stop. And so sitting down all day doesn't seem to be a problem. But so that's what got me into it. And I thought, man, I tried searching YouTube for some videos, for some local videos. There's a shit ton. There's a lot around the world, like predominantly in America. There's a lot. There wasn't so much local stuff. And I'm like, man, why don't I? And so that's why I started up the sign-up process videos. And it's like, one's easier than the other, and one costs more, and one takes more investment, and then it's like, oh, why don't I not hide anything and let everybody know what I earn? And it's like, no secrets here. And so, yeah, a couple of mouths a day. And I do it all doing gig work. Like, yeah, this is our only income, and it's it can be stressful at times. But yeah, so that's why I got into the videos, was because I didn't find anything local to help me out. And like, if I had known what DoorDash was like to sign up with, I would have quit ages ago. I wouldn't have even pushed to sign up. Like, that was a headache, man. That was the worst ever. And then Uber was kind of, it was okay, Uber driver. So this will be different than Uber Eats because, we need endorsement licenses. I've just got to pull over. Um, so, that took a process, which I didn't know that process. So I was learning that, okay, I was sending in pictures of my license and they're like declining it, saying that your license has to suit the vehicle that you're driving. And I'm like, but it's a full class one, of course it does. And then found out that I needed the P endorsement on the license before I could submit the photo. And so there was none of that available for me to go to. So I thought, well, what the heck? Why don't I? Why don't I show people how it is to sign up? Show people what potentially could be earned. Obviously every region is different. I actually got my end of year tax earnings from Deliver Easy the other day. I can't remember it, but it was like 5 or 6 grand and that's only over a matter of months. Anyway, yeah, 6 kids. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of American stuff. And that is why, and obviously what I done helped you. That's good. Dashing Trader. Who are they? I haven't even had a look. Lives in America. Oh, yeah, well, he does Dash and Uber Eats, see? So, and watching overseas can give you an idea of how it works. But our laws are a little bit different, so the sign-up processes and all that are a little bit different. Yeah. 8 kids. Wow. Dairy farming too. Like, how do you find the time? Anyway, I was a dairy farmer too, actually, many years ago, down in the South Island. Yeah, DoorDash is massive in America, and they've got different. Like, I don't. From what I've seen of the Americans, I don't think they have time restraints like in New Zealand. Or they might be more favourable. Like it gives you 4 minutes to get to the restaurant and pick the meal up, and yet the restaurant's 4-minute drive away. But yeah, the freedoms of these driving apps, the food delivery or people delivery, I call it. The freedom, there's no job in the world that could offer that. Like people go, oh, what does it work out to be an hourly rate? And it's like, well, some days it could work out to be $3 an hour, and the other days it could work out to be 80. It's like, come on, it's not that we're driving for. I said I drive because of the flexibility, and there's no hourly rate in the world that can match that. Something happens at school with my kids, bang, I'm offline, I'm there. Kids need like mum needs me to take the kids to school. Sweet as, take the kids to school. Needs me to pick them up. There's just so much of that. What else have we got there? Oh yeah, I actually saw. Oh, am I in the driveway? I'm parked in the school driveway. She'll be right. They'll go around me. I actually saw this guy. I must follow him. I don't know his name. I haven't seen many videos of him, but he does Uber Eats. He's a South African guy. Excuse me, but I think he does it in America. And I think they've got it tough because he got threatened to be kicked off the platform for not accepting, food delivery. And one that he showed me, I think it was $2.84 for a food delivery. That was including the tip, and it was a 45-minute drive. And it's like, come on, man, like that. Who's going to accept that? That's including the tip. $2.85. And he was ropeable because, he got a flagged warning saying that they'll kick him off the app if he continues to not accept food deliveries. And he's like, I ain't accepting that. Yeah, people are going around me. They're all right. They're looking at me, but they're going around me. Consistency is up and down. Yeah. Consistency, if you're meaning like workload, yeah. I thought, so I haven't done food delivery for a long time. And so I've been out of that game for, a few months. I don't know if that's picked up a bit because of fuel pricing, instead of people going to get it, they'll get it delivered or whatever. I'm not sure if the fuel price going up has helped food delivery. I half expected Uber passenger to go up a bit because of fuel pricing, but it's kind of plateaued, or it's going down in a sense that when fuel price goes up, hospitality gets the hit. No, sorry, not when fuel price goes up. When cost of living, when we're struggling to find money, it's the hospitality that'll get hit first. When we've got to tighten up our purse strings, when we've got to watch our pennies. They're going out for dinner. They're going out on Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. It all gets, okay, let's go out once a month or once a fortnight or let's go out once a week, depending what their routine was. It gets cut. And Uber passenger, a big chunk of our passengers is directly related to that hospitality. People going out for dinner, they're going to have drinks, they want to get home. People going out for drinks on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, they go to town, they want to get home. They're drinking, alcohol's involved. And so when people tighten up their purse strings around that activity of life, well, then we don't get the rides. And for the last 3 weeks, it has been a tough grind. Tough. Oh, yeah, see, so obviously, so people, you've found out that it has improved away from the city. So, yeah, so I'm not going to drive all that way. I've filled my tank up this week and it's going to last me 2 weeks. Let's order it in. Maybe. Now, some pretty good figures. When we were in red, we made 208 hours, Uber Eats and DoorDash. The Cyclone, I made 105 in 4 hours. It's, in 8 hours. 66 in 4 hours. Hey, I've done Uber, like Uber passenger, and I've done like sat there for 4 hours, and I've done a $5.78 I think is our minimum trip fare, and that's what I make. That's tough to go home after that length of time with only $5.78. So gig life isn't all roses, of course, but then there's been times that I've gone out for 4 hours and I've just hit some massive surges because we get surging on Uber drivers, so there's supply and demand. So if there's like say, rugby game on and everybody wants to leave, or a concert, everybody wants to leave at the same time, the price just goes up. And it can go up quite considerable. And there was a 4-hour period we had, I think it was Rock the Bowl here in New Plymouth. And so taking people there was a slight surge, like just, maybe 1.5, maybe 2 times the fare. So good fares, but it was only a slight. When it had finished, it's like from New Plymouth to Bell Block was $120. So yeah, full time. I guess you're part time, so you're only limited. Maybe I'm assuming you work like a normal day. I don't know, like 7 till 4 or 7 till 5 or whatever, and then deliver evening. So you're only limited to that block of dinner. That, what would it be? Busy period like 6 till 9, is that maybe that rush period? Highest trip $15. Wow. So what do you drive? You said my highest trip is $15, one customer. Oh, is that a delivery? Oh, tip. Oh, see, and I've got my glasses on too. That's a pretty good tip. Um, Now, because we're not a tipping country, I don't educate my passengers, but I do have a video about it, is that me, if you're in the gig industry, we're employed, or we're getting paid to pick up, so you're getting paid to, let's say, pick up food from point A and drop it off at point B. With me doing passenger, I'm employed to pick up a passenger from point A and drop the passenger off at point B. Um, yeah, that's awesome, tipping your driver. That's cool. That does make their day. It's what we do in between that point A and point B, which is, so if you go far and beyond to get that food to them, like I'd done one to a hospital bed. So we get paid, that was with Delivery Easy. So picked up from the restaurant to the hospital. Now I had to navigate my way through the hospital to the ward to get it to this young fellow who had like both his legs in cast. Not a single tip. And like, we're not a tipping country. And so I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to whinge and moan about that. But in that instance, that's where the customer should be like, well, he should be tipped, should pay extra. It's like my riders. Sometimes they go, oh, can we just go around here? They're the ones that will try to not tip. Like, so some of them go, oh, can we just drop this person off on the way? It's like 2 blocks over. And like, I'm not a miserable person, so it's like, yeah, okay, I do. Sometimes they tip, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they tip in cash. I found the biggest tippers, and this is in Uber driving passengers, Uber passenger, the bigger tippers are usually the younger to middle age bracket. I get a lot of $1 tips, but the larger tips are usually that young, maybe 30s to 40s age bracket, and a lot of times, sometimes it's cash. Like they'll hand me, don't tell anybody. Shh, shh. And a lot of times it's through the app. Sometimes, like, people will say, oh, this person lives over here, so we got to go way away from where they are, and they'll tip. But when it's like only a block or 2 over, I don't usually see a tip. And that's their own prerogative. But, oh yeah, 18-year-old giving a $15 tip, that's good. That's awesome, actually. Now, I was going somewhere with the tip. Yeah, so if we do something between that point A and point B outside of that norm, well then we should expect the tip. But because we're New Zealanders, we're like, oh no, it's all good, cuz. I've actually had people tip me just because of how do I put it? It's very hard to put it in words without sounding. They jump in the car and they look at me and then they go, "Wow, where are you born?" I'm just trying to explain why they tip me, and I say, "New Zealand." And they go, "Well, I've never seen this in my life." And hey, admittedly, I think there's four New Zealand Europeans driving Uber in New Plymouth, and yeah, and so they tipped me on that. They're like, "Good to see," and yeah. Anyway, I think I've rambled. Well, I try to be. We're allowed to take cash chip. Uh, oh, mean. It's good that they do actually, like give free food and drinks. Yeah, I know we're allowed to accept cash tips. Um, I think Uber would prefer it if it went through the app though, just because, yeah, Uber's Uber. Um, but yeah, I try to be the best that I can. I'm not one to. Oh, actually, tell you what, I did just about kick one passenger out of my car. This is the last story, then I better log off. And this is mapping. This is mapping issues, and you'll find mapping issues with your food delivery too. But I went to an address, right? The address was such and such a number on such and such a street. Pulled up, waited out there. Now behind that address is a rugby club, but that was not my pickup point. Anywho, I get a message. Where are you? And I said, I'm outside such and such number, such and such address. And then he's like, where? Like, outside. So I repeated my message, outside number on this address. And then I see this guy walking up the street, a little bit hobbling, jumps in the car, slams the door, grumpy as, and he's like, I wanted you to pick me up from the rugby club. And I said, well, I showed him on my, because I use a tablet for my mapping, for my app. I pulled it up and I said, look, I'm bang on the pin, like bang on the pin. Oh, that's not where I wanted you to pick me up from. And I said, well, I don't know that. Like, you've told Uber that address. No, I did not. I told them to pick me up from where I am. And it's like, well, obviously it pinged you to that house. You should have checked when you said yes, except, start the ride. Anyway, so we started the ride, and I put it in gear, and I started to roll out, and I said, confirm the address, and he goes, yeah, if you can effing understand directions. I was like, okay. So I put it back in reverse, backed up, and I said, you can get out. He's like, what? I said, you can get out. He goes, no, I'm sorry. And I said, no, you come in here. I stopped where I was told to stop to pick you up, and you're telling me that I don't know directions? I said, you can get out now. And anyway, I ended up completing the ride because I'm a good fella. Um, and I just explained to him, I said, look, you got to double confirm that's, you know, the app obviously thought that you were at that address. And you would have seen that address before you started to want the ride. He goes, oh yeah, I did. And it's like, wow. I, I have no idea who I'm picking up. I have no idea where you are. All I have is an address. He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I just want to get home. It's like, yeah, well, shut up. But that's the dramas of mapping. Uber use proximity mapping, which is, so if a house is off the street but it's closer to the street behind, it'll try to send you to that other street, where Google uses access mapping, which is driveways. So anyway, that's enough rambling for the day. It is almost an hour live. Sorry, guys. But hey, you guys stay safe out there. Keep delivering. Keep doing what you're doing. And just remember that the next customer could be your best. Anyway, till then, stay safe. Be aware of your surroundings and look out for each other. Kia ora.